If you've ever loaded data into Salesforce NPSP using data import records, you may have struggled to get your Excel data into the required format. In particular, when your source data has one contact per record, VLOOKUPs are required to put family members in the same record as their primary contact. We created a macro-enabled Excel spreadsheet that identifies household groupings and copies data with one contact per record into the data import format with two contacts per record without needing to do VLOOKUPs. The spreadsheet uses three tabs, one for the source data, one for the output data, and here on the Instruction tab, you specify the configuration of your source data and run the program. The program needs to know where to find your source data and where to put the output data. We also enter a household identifier field and a primary contact indicator field. Let's see what those are. In this small sample data set, we can see that each row contains fields for one contact. In order to group the contacts into households, it is necessary that they have some kind of identifier field in common. In this sample, there is a family ID field, and we can see that there are 4 members of the Brown family with the same family ID and 2 members of the Callahan family with the same family ID. The rest are single-member households. So column B is our source household identifier column. If our data set does not have a household identifier field, the program treats each record as a single-member household. Next, we specify which column contains a primary contact indicator. This is a field that contains some kind of flag for primary contacts and is blank for other contacts. Here, column A is our primary contact indicator. It's actually a formula that prints an X when the contact ID is the same as the household ID. If our data set does not have such a field, the program treats the first contact it comes across as the primary contact. The rest of the configuration rows are a map of the field names that will become the column headers in our output file, and therefore the labels that will be used either by Data Loader or the Data Import Wizard. Use the field names for the tool that you plan to use. For each field, specify which column in the Source tab contains that data. Then specify whether the value should be copied from the primary contact for Contact 1 fields or from the non-primary contact for Contact 2 fields. For example, first name is found in column E in our source dataset, so we enter E for both Contact 1 first name and Contact 2 first name. The difference is that a value in column E is copied into Contact 1 first name only when the source record is flagged as a primary contact, and it is copied into Contact 2 first name when the record is not a primary contact. Finally, we can optionally specify a default value that will be copied in if the value in the source dataset is blank. This is handy for required fields and checkboxes. Create a row in the map for every field to be imported, including any custom fields you need to import, assuming that you have created those fields in the data import object to receive that data. Once the configuration information is set up and our source data is ready, all we need to do is press this button that says Format Source Data. This runs a program that copies the data from the Source tab into the Results tab, overwriting anything that was in the Results tab. And as we can see, the data has been rearranged into NPSP Data Import format on the Results tab. Note that the Brown family is now represented by 3 records, with Haley Brown, the primary contact, as Contact 1 on all 3 rows, and the other 3 family members are Contact 2 on each row. Yasin is Contact 1 for the Callahans, with Lucas as Contact 2. Everyone else is in a household by themselves. What happens if we change the primary contact for the Callahans to Lucas and don't specify a primary contact for the Browns? Jake will be considered the primary contact because he is the first listed member of the Brown household. Let's run the program again, and we can see that the households have been formatted accordingly. Now we can save this data as a CSV file and import it into the NPSP Data Import object. If you'd like to try this tool out for yourself, please contact Kathy Only.